Hey everyone. I think we've all felt it, right?
Felt what?
That overwhelm
Oh, yeah.
when you're just, chasing deadlines and juggling a million things and
Mhm.
wondering, are we really are we making any headway
Yeah.
on the things that actually matter?
Right. Yeah.
Well, on this deep dive,
Yeah.
we're going to explore some really cool ideas from Stephen
Yeah.
Covey's First Things First.
Oh, okay.
And they might just change your whole approach to time,
Mm-hmm.
time management and maybe even life itself.
Okay.
We're working with a great summary of the book.
Right.
And our mission today is to kind of give you some practical tools
Yeah.
and a new perspective to conquer that feeling of overwhelm
Mm-hmm.
and start prioritizing like a pro.
Nice. Yeah. I like that.
So it's not just about, you
Yeah.
cramming more into your day.
Right.
It's about making sure the things that you do
Yeah.
actually align with your values and your goals.
Exactly. That's it.
And I love how Covey uses this analogy of the clock and the compass
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
to illustrate this.
Mm-hmm.
So like the clock represents, our schedules and our deadlines,
Yeah.
that constant ticking.
Yeah.
But the compass,
Mm-hmm.
that's our internal guide.
Right.
Our values, our sense of purpose, our,
Yeah.
all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever feel like that disconnect
Oh, all the time.
where you're running on the treadmill,
Yeah.
like you're busy,
Yeah.
but you're not really moving in the direction you want to go?
That's it. Yeah, that's a feeling
Yeah.
so many of us experience. And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of what Covey calls the gap between the clock and the compass, you know?
Mhm.
We might be like checking things off the to-do list,
Right.
but are we really living a life that reflects what matters most?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And it's so easy to get sucked into
Totally.
what he calls the urgency addiction.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Like our society often equates busyness
Yeah.
with importance.
Right.
It's almost like a badge of honor to be stressed out and overwhelmed.
No, it's so true.
But is that really how we want to live?
I think Covey would argue that it's not.
Right.
And he suggests that this constant focus on urgency
Mhm.
can actually lead us to neglect the things that
Right.
that really contribute to our long-term well-being and fulfillment.
Okay, so how do we break free from this urgency addiction?
Right.
Well, Covey introduces this concept of the time management matrix,
Mm-hmm.
which I'll admit sounded a little
Oh, okay.
intimidating
Yeah, know what you mean.
at first.
Yeah, it does sound a little technical, but it's
Yeah.
actually very simple
Right.
but powerful tool.
Okay.
So imagine 4 boxes or quadrants.
All right, I gotcha.
And 2 of those quadrants represent things that are urgent, like demanding our attention right now.
I feel that. Yeah.
But the other 2
Right.
represent things that might not be urgent,
Okay.
but they're still like really important
Right.
for our long-term goals
Yeah.
and happiness.
So it's not just about doing things quickly.
Right.
It's about doing the right things.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the key.
Covey argues that we need to prioritize activities in that quadrant of not urgent but important.
Okay.
These are the things that often get neglected.
Yeah, because they're not urgent.
Right, exactly, because they don't have a looming deadline.
Right.
But they're really the key to
Okay.
living a more fulfilling and principle-centered life.
Like spending quality time with loved ones, taking care of our health, pursuing our passions. Those things, they can feel so easy to put off
Yeah,
when
totally.
the work deadline is looming.
For sure.
But they're like the things that actually bring us real meaning and joy.
It's true.
I don't know.
They ultimately contribute to
Yeah.
our effectiveness in
Yeah.
all areas of life.
I'm starting to see how this all connects.
Good.
But Covey doesn't just talk about time management in a vacuum.
Right.
He talks about living a principle-centered life. So what does that even mean?
What does that mean? Well,
Yeah.
it means aligning your actions with your deepest values,
Okay.
And Covey highlights these
Yeah.
4 fundamental human needs,
Okay.
and it's to live,
Okay.
to love, to learn, and to leave a legacy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
And he argues that when we make choices that honor these needs,
Okay.
we're kind of naturally drawn to those not urgent but important activities.
So it's about finding that sweet spot
Yeah.
where our actions are, like, reflecting both our deepest values and our long-term goals.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, that sounds great in theory.
Yeah, it does.
But how do we actually make it happen?
Right. Well, that's where the
Yeah.
quadrant 2 weekly organizing process
Yep.
comes in. And
It might sound, I don't know, a little technical.
yeah, it might, but
Yeah.
it's actually a very practical and adaptable system.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Okay, so it starts with getting really clear on your vision and mission.
Okay.
What do you want your life to stand for?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of impact do you want to make?
Okay.
Then, think about your different roles in life.
Right.
Parent, partner, professional, friend.
Yeah, all of those.
And then, identify
Right.
the not urgent but important
Yep.
roles
Okay.
for each role.
So if one of my roles is like friend,
Mm-hmm.
a quadrant 2 goal might be to,
Yeah.
finally schedule that monthly dinner
Yeah.
with my close friends.
That's a great example.
We always talk about,
Yeah.
but never,
Yeah.
quite make happen.
Right. We all have those,
Yeah, exactly.
It's about being intentional with your time
Mhm.
and making sure you're making space for the things that
Mm.
contribute to a fulfilling life in all
Yeah.
areas.
This is making a lot of sense.
Good.
I can already see how this approach
Yeah.
could shift my mindset
Mm-hmm.
from feeling constantly reactive
Yeah,
to
yeah.
being more proactive
Yeah.
and intentional.
And that's a big part of what Covey is getting at here.
Yeah.
He's not just talking about,
Right.
managing time. He's talking about
Yeah.
leading our lives.
Yeah, so it's about making conscious choices
Mm-hmm.
that move us closer
Yeah.
to the life we envision,
Right.
rather than just
Right.
letting the urgent things
Mm-hmm.
dictate our every move.
Exactly.
Right.
But, it's not just about individual effort.
Okay.
Covey also emphasizes this importance of interdependence.
Interdependence.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with
Okay.
time management?
Well, think about it.
Okay.
We rarely achieve our goals in isolation.
Right.
We need others.
Right.
And nurturing those relationships,
Okay.
building trust,
Mm-hmm.
collaborating effectively.
Yeah.
Those are all, quadrant 2 activities that can actually save us time and energy in the long run.
Wait, so how can neglecting urgent tasks
Right.
and focusing on relationships
Yeah.
save time?
It might seem counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but think about it this way. When you invest in building, strong, supportive relationships,
Yeah.
you're creating this network of people who can help you,
Yeah.
offer different perspectives,
Right.
prevent misunderstandings down the line.
Right.
And that saves you from a lot of potential, headaches and fire drills,
Yeah, those urgent,
which are definitely urgent,
but not important.
but not necessarily important
Right.
in the grand scheme of things.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's about playing the long game,
It is.
right?
Yep.
And recognizing that investing in relationships now can save us
Yeah.
time and energy.
Yeah, it's like that,
Yeah.
Covey talks about this shift
Right.
from a mindset of independence
Mhm.
to interdependence.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that we're all connected, right?
Yeah.
And our success is often
Yeah.
intertwined with the success of others.
So how do we actually put this interdependence
Yes.
into practice?
Yeah, that's the question.
Especially when we're feeling that pressure
Mm-hmm.
to constantly be
Yeah.
doing and accomplishing things.
Yeah, Covey emphasizes the importance of
Okay.
effective communication. Understanding different perspectives and building trust.
Yeah.
These are all
Okay.
quadrant 2 activities
Right.
that can feel time consuming in the moment.
Right.
But ultimately, I think they contribute to more
Yeah.
harmonious and productive
Right.
relationships.
Okay. Can you give me an example
Sure, yeah.
of what that might look like?
Okay, so imagine you're working on a project with
Okay.
a team
Mhm.
and there's a disagreement
Yeah.
about the best way to approach,
Yeah.
a particular task
Right.
instead of
Okay.
getting caught up in a power struggle
Yeah.
or trying to
Right.
force your own idea.
Right.
You could take the time to really listen
Mhm.
to your teammates' perspective,
Yeah.
try to understand where they're coming from,
Mm-hmm.
and work together to find a solution that everyone feels good about.
That sounds a lot more productive
I think so.
and probably a lot less stressful than just butting heads and
Yeah.
trying to,
Right.
get my own way.
Exactly.
Right.
And in the long run,
Yeah.
I think that approach will likely save you time and energy
Okay.
because you've avoided unnecessary conflict
Right.
and built
Yeah.
stronger relationships with your team.
It's like that saying,
What's that?
an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yeah, I like that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Investing in those
Yeah.
quadrant 2 activities up front can help us avoid
Right.
a lot of urgent, but ultimately unimportant.
Exactly,
Right.
Sawyers. That's it.
Advocacy.
Covey reminds us that this principle of interdependence
Okay.
applies not just to our professional lives, right? But to our personal lives as well.
Okay, so
Yeah.
making time for
Yeah.
heart-to-heart conversations with loved ones, really listening
Right.
to what they have to say,
Yep.
being present in those interactions. Those are all quadrant 2 activities
Yeah. Right.
that can strengthen our relationships and prevent,
Yeah.
bigger issues down the road.
Exactly. It's about
Yeah.
nurturing those connections, even when they don't feel urgent, because they're ultimately what give our lives meaning and joy,
Yeah. So we've talked about the time management matrix.
Right.
The importance of prioritizing quadrant 2 activities and this idea of shifting from independence to interdependence.
Yeah.
But there's still this nagging question in my mind.
Okay, what's that?
How do we actually determine what's truly important?
Right.
I mean, we all have different values and goals.
No worry.
What might be a quadrant 2 activity for one person?
Yeah. Right. Could be a total waste of time. Yeah. For another person. Right. That's a great question. And it goes to the heart of Covey's concept of living a principle-centered life.
Okay.
He argues that our deepest values should be like the compass guiding our choices.
So it's not about following someone else's definition of success or importance.
It's not.
It's about figuring out what truly matters to us as individuals.
As individuals, exactly. Okay. And Covey, he suggests we ask ourselves some fundamental questions like, what do I want my life to stand for? What kind of impact do I want to make on the world? What brings me a sense of purpose and fulfillment?
It's about getting really clear on our own internal compass.
It is, that sense of direction. That guides our choices and helps us prioritize effectively.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's not about following someone else's formula for success. It's about
crafting a life that feels authentic and meaningful to us.
To me, to you.
To you, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Covey emphasizes that this is, not a one-time exercise, but like an ongoing process of self-discovery and refinement.
Right. Because
our values might evolve over time.
Yeah.
Our priorities might shift.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
The key is to stay connected to our inner compass and make sure our actions are reflecting what truly matters.
This is making a lot of sense.
Good.
But I have to admit, it can still feel overwhelming.
It can.
Like, where do we even begin?
Right. Well, Covey, he provides a very practical framework for putting these principles into action.
Okay.
And it all starts with that quadrant 2 weekly organizing process.
Right.
Remember, we talked about, identifying your roles and setting goals for each.
Right.
Yeah.
Like setting a goal to have that monthly dinner with friends.
Exactly.
As part of my friend role.
The quadrant 2 weekly organizing process takes that a step further, and it helps you create a concrete plan for the week ahead.
So it's about taking those big picture values and translating them into
into concrete actions for the week.
Okay.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And it's not just about setting goals, right? Okay. It's about creating a decision-making framework.
Okay, a decision-making framework.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Yeah. So Covey suggests that before you commit to any new appointments or tasks, ask yourself 3 key questions.
Okay, give them to me.
Okay. The first one is, why am I doing this?
Okay, so that's about making sure the activity
Yes.
aligns with my
Aligns with your values.
values and goals.
Values and goals. Exactly.
Right.
Then ask yourself,
Okay.
how can I do this most effectively?
Okay, so that's about finding
Right.
the most efficient
And impactful
and impactful
way to approach the task.
Got it.
And then finally, ask yourself,
Okay.
when is the best time to do this?
Okay, so that's about like
Uh-huh.
scheduling
The activity
Yeah.
in a way that makes sense for your overall
Yeah.
priorities and energy levels.
This is good. This is good.
Yeah.
I like these questions.
By consistently asking ourselves these questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can ensure that we're making conscious choices that support our values and goals rather than just reacting to whatever seems urgent
Right.
in the moment.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all fits together. It's about being proactive rather than reactive.
You're active.
Making those quadrant 2 activities a priority.
A priority.
And using our values as a compass.
As a compass.
To guide our decisions.
But
what happens?
What happens when
the unexpected inevitably throws a wrench in our plans?
Right. Well, that's where the final 2 steps of the quadrant 2 weekly organizing process come in.
Right.
Exercising integrity in the moment and evaluating our progress.
So even with the best laid plans, life happens. And we need to be adaptable?
We do. We do. Exercising integrity in the moment means making choices that align with our values, even when faced with, unexpected challenges or distractions.
Right.
So it might mean saying no to something that seems urgent but doesn't align with our goals. Or it might mean like delegating a task to free up time for something more important.
So it's about being
flexible, but still staying true to our priorities.
Exactly. And then that final step, evaluating our progress, is about like taking some time at the end of the week to reflect on how things went. Like what worked well. What could we do differently next time?
Right.
What did we learn about ourselves?
About ourselves and our priorities. It's like a continuous feedback loop.
It is, yeah.
Right.
It's like constantly refining our approach.
Adjusting,
and making sure we're on track.
And that's what Covey means when he talks about moving from like time management to personal leadership.
Right.
It's not about, rigidly sticking to a schedule. But about creating a system that helps us live our lives with intention and purpose.
Okay, I'm really starting to see the power of this approach.
Good.
It's not just about
getting things done.
It's about living a life that reflects our
our values
and aspirations. Exactly. And Covey would argue that when we align our actions with our values, we experience this like profound sense of peace and fulfillment.
That sounds amazing.
It is pretty great.
But
how do we actually cultivate that sense of peace?
Yeah.
Especially in a world that feels, I don't know,
increasingly
chaotic and demanding.
Covey, he emphasizes the importance of connecting with our conscience. That inner voice that guides us towards what's right and true.
So it's about taking the time to reflect. To check in with ourselves and make sure our actions are in alignment with our values.
Exactly. And it's not about being perfect. It's about being mindful and intentional.
Right.
Covey suggests like pausing throughout the day. Asking ourselves if our actions are reflecting our values and making adjustments when necessary.
So it's about creating those moments of stillness.
It is.
Amidst the busyness.
Amidst the chaos, the craziness.
Those moments where we can reconnect with our
compass.
Inner compass.
Our inner compass.
Yeah.
And make sure we're on course.
This is good stuff.
I think so.
All right. So that brings us to another key concept.
Yeah.
In first things first. The power of synergy.
Synergy.
Yeah, isn't that like a business buzzword?
It is. It is.
But
Covey uses it in a much broader sense.
Okay.
He argues that when people come together with a shared vision and a spirit of collaboration, they can achieve results that are greater than the sum of their individual effort.
So it's about recognizing.
It's about recognizing.
We can accomplish.
We can accomplish more together
than
we can alone. Together than we can alone.
Exactly. And this applies not just to
teams and organizations, but to our personal relationships as well.
So when we approach our interactions with a spirit of openness and empathy. And a willingness to learn from each other.
Yes.
We create the conditions for synergy to flourish.
We do. Okay. It's about moving from a mindset of competition to a mindset of cooperation.
Okay, so instead of it being like a zero-sum game.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
It's abundant.
We can all win.
We can all win.
Right.
Exactly. And Covey would argue that this shift in perspective can lead to greater creativity, innovation, and ultimately a deeper sense of fulfillment in all areas of life.
This idea of synergy is really resonating with me.
Yeah.
It's like that old saying.
What's that?
Two heads are better than one.
Yeah.
But it's more than just like brainstorming ideas together.
It is.
It's about creating a space where everyone feels heard and valued. And where different perspectives can come together to create something truly remarkable.
Exactly. And Covey argues that this principle of synergy is essential for creating a more peaceful and fulfilling life.
So it's not just about
personal effectiveness.
No, it's about creating like a positive ripple effect that extends outward, to our relationships, our communities, and even
the
world at large.
Yeah, the world.
Precisely. And Covey reminds us that, this is an ongoing journey.
Right.
It's not about achieving like some kind of perfect balance or endpoint.
It's about constantly striving to live in alignment with our values and create a life that feels meaningful
and purposeful. This has been so eye-opening.
I'm glad.
This conversation. I feel like I have a whole new framework for approaching time management, goal setting, and just life in general. But before we wrap up, I have one more question.
All right, sure.
Covey talks a lot about the importance of personal renewal.
Yes.
Taking time to recharge and reconnect with ourselves.
Yeah. How does that fit into this whole picture?
Yeah. How does that fit into prioritizing quadrant 2 activities and living a principle-centered life?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. Covey would he would argue that personal renewal is not a luxury.
But like a necessity.
Right.
It's about, taking care of our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. So that we can show up as our best selves. In all areas of life.
So it's not selfish.
It's not selfish.
To take time for ourselves. Yeah. It's actually essential for being effective in our relationships, in our work.
Yep.
And everything else we do.
Exactly. And Covey, he suggests that we, make personal renewal a regular part of our lives.
So what does that look like?
Well, that might mean, taking time for exercise, meditation, spending time in nature, pursuing hobbies, or anything else that that really nourishes our souls and helps us recharge. So those activities that might seem like indulgent or I don't know, maybe even like frivolous
are actually quadrant 2 activities.
Quadrant 2 activities in disguise. They're the things that help us stay energized and focused and resilient.
When things get tough.
When life throws us curveballs.
Right. And Covey emphasizes that. Personal renewal is not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
What works for one person might not work for another. The key is to to find what nourishes and recharges you.
Yeah, what works for you.
And make it, a regular part of your routine.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
It's about
giving ourselves permission.
Yeah, giving ourselves permission.
To prioritize. Our well-being.
Knowing that it's not just about self-care.
Okay.
Right. It's about creating the conditions for a more fulfilling and impactful life.
An impactful life. I like that. Okay.
And Covey, he would argue that when we invest in our own well-being, we're better equipped to contribute to the well-being of others.
It's like that that oxygen mask analogy.
Oh yeah.
That they use.
I love that one.
On airplanes.
Yeah.
Right. You have to put your own mask on first.
You got to put your own mask on first
before you can help anyone else.
Exactly.
And that
brings us back to the core message of first things first.
Okay, what's that?
It's not about, managing time.
Yeah.
It's about leading our lives with intention.
With intention.
And purpose.
It's about making choices that align with our deepest values.
Deepest values, yeah.
And create a life that feels authentic.
Authentic
and meaningful.
Meaningful.
Yeah.
This has been such an incredible deep dive.
It's been fun.
Into first things first.
Yeah.
I feel like I have like a whole new toolkit for approaching, time management. Goal setting. And just life in general. What's the one key takeaway you hope our listeners will walk away with today?
I think the most important takeaway is that, it's never too late to start living a more principle-centered life.
Okay.
It's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about making conscious choices.
Okay.
Each day. That move us closer to
the life we truly want.
Yeah. It's about embracing the journey and trusting that with each step.
Yeah.
We're creating a more fulfilling
and impactful
life
for ourselves. And those around us.
Beautifully said.
Thanks.
And remember, listeners, it's all about progress. Not perfection. Start by, identifying just one quadrant 2 activity. That you can commit to this week. Something that's not
urgent,
but deeply important. For your well-being. Your relationship.
Or your goals. Write it down. Schedule it. In your calendar. And make it a non-negotiable. And if you're feeling, I don't know, stuck or overwhelmed, remember, you don't have to do this alone.
You don't.
Reach out to a friend.
A mentor.
A coach.
For support. And most importantly,
be
kind to yourself. Change takes time.
It does.
And every step you take in the direction of a more fulfilling life. Is a victory. Worth celebrating. Thank you so much for
thanks for having me.
Sharing your insights today.
It's been fun.
This has been an incredibly valuable conversation.
Thank you.
And listeners, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
On this deep dive into first things first.
We'll
see you next time.
See ya.